It's possible.
James.
Jesse. See it on the skin lights. All spots. See.
6 o'clock. I'll call the city council meeting, the September 5th city council meeting to order. Call the roll.
Abby Hansen,
Here.
John Hawkins,
Here.
Megan McFarland, here, Matt McKinney,
Here.
Logan Welch.
Here. Call for motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance. One. Item 1, petitions communication request. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. Except in case of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask city staff to research the matter or have the matter placed on the agenda for future meeting. Anyone have anything for us? I've got proclamation for the doodle button. Right. So if you guys want to come up. I don't know. I don't know if you want to be this way and have the Webster City. But then you want to be this one. Okay. Go ahead, these ones. I didn't. Oh.
I'm. Feels like I am out. The chairs look weird. Best that we can.
Doodle Bug Day in Webster City is the week of September 11th through September 16, whereas Webster City, Iowa is the birthplace of the famous Doodlebug motor scooter produced between 1946 and 48, which has become a collector's item around the United States. 40,000 units built in Webster City is estimated that approximately 1,000 or less may exist. Doodlebug may be the last visible tie to the former beam electrolyte facilities, and each year at least 37 over the last 37 years, the Doodlebug Club of America has hosted the annual reunion of the club, drawing attendance from all over the nation with members in over 32 states plus grants. Webster City is fortunate to have the club select Webster City for their annual convention each year, to bring people into a great community known nationwide as the Doodlebug capital of the world. Now, before I go on, Hawkins, Mayor of the City of Webster City, to hereby proclaim the week of September 11 through 16 as official Doodlebug Days in Webster City, Iowa. Encourage all citizens of the community to welcome our visitors and visit them at the reunion site of the Hampton County Fair. Thank you.
Jerry, get your face so I can see you. No, real bad. This way I can see it. Okay. Thank you.
It's good to have a great week. Understanding.
If I could take just a moment. The club wants to be sure to thank the city council for the liberties that we have during the reunion, with the police department allowing us to be on the streets, the trail ride. The folks that come here just love it. Thank
Well,
you.
it's a great thing. You bring a lot of people in, so thanks very much.
Thank you.
His bikies are going to go out and start up their motorbikes. You might hear them all in the end. All right, so item 2, minutes, claims, reports and licenses. The following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council on a single motion. If a council member or member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, we consider it in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have A, minutes of August 21st and August 28th. B is a resolution on payroll period ending August 26th and paid on September 1st. Resolution on the fund list and bills. Recommend approval for issuance of beer liquor licenses by the Iowa Department of Commerce for the following: a Class C retail alcohol license and outdoor service for CNC American Tap at 526 2nd Street. And also have a motion on street closure request from the Webster City High School National Honor Society and issuance of a parade permit for homecoming parade to be held on September 8th and staging it to beginning approximately 1:30 p.m. with the parade at 2:30.
Move to approve collectively.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. General agenda for public hearing on proposed to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Webster City, Iowa 2019 by adding section 50-120 entitled Solar Energy Systems to Chapter 50, Article 3, Division 3 for the purpose of regulating and placement of the use of solar systems in the city's zoning districts. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
Receive no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections.
I'll close the hearing. Ariel?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you is just a request to approve the first reading to amend the Code of Ordinances pertaining to Chapter 50, Article 3, Division 3 to add Section 50-120 entitled Solar Energy Systems. Currently, the City of Webster City does not address the installation of solar energy systems on private property in the city's zoning districts. And there is a peak interest from residents, businesses, and developers that could have both potential impact on the city's land use policies as well as the city's municipal electric utility. With the peak interest, we feel it's necessary to amend our city code pertaining to Chapter 50 to add that solar energy system section. This ordinance was developed in partnership with DGR Engineering, Allers and Cooney, and also city staff and utility line department, the building department and public works department. And the ordinance would regulate the restrict the placement, construction, and use of solar energy systems within the city's established zoning districts. It does not permit solar energy systems, so I just want to address that. It's not, it's not prohibiting them. It's just putting certain conditions on there and also prohibiting freestanding solar energy systems in residential districts. We want to make sure we're doing that to protect the city's land use for future use. And then this has gone before planning and zoning on August 14th, and they discussed it and they agreed to recommend the approval of the amendment. We are increasing the interconnection fee from $125 to $150 and also increasing the application fee to cost recover for engineering fees and application review. And then these fees would be collected in a deposit form. And as the work is completed, the fees would be deducted and then any funds left over would be refunded back to the customer. So city staff is just recommending approving the first reading of the ordinance.
Okay. Any questions, Farah? Thanks, Cheryl. First reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances to City of Webster City, Iowa 2019 by adding section 50-120 entitled Solar Energy Systems to Chapter 50, Article 3, Division 3 for the purpose of regulating the placement and use of solar systems in the city's zoning districts.
Move to approve.
Again.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
B is a public hearing on proposed plan specifications, proposed form of contract and estimate of costs for construction of the 2023 sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
Receive no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections.
I'll close the hearing. Over to you, Brent.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the 2023 sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. This is for 8 slip line locations with 3 spot repairs with 2 bid alternative spot repairs. little bit of history with the sanitary sewer. This is all to be proactive, but also fixing those locations that you call them blowouts, where the clay pipes just gets old and roots push in and the cake fall or the pipe falls in. Or you start to see cracks in the old clay pipe, and that's why the cheapest solution is to get in there and slip line. We're trying to focus and do more of that. It's the cheaper fix. It gets really expensive when you begin to dig up the street, which causes road closures. Concrete's getting more and more expensive. So we're trying to do more of the slip lining and less of the spot repairs, but sometimes it just requires that. Sometimes slip lining, you can't do some locations. So this project includes, like I said, 8 locations of the slip line and 5 total of the spot repairs. 3 other original contracts and 2 of the bid alternatives. We did receive 3 proposals, one from Nels Pedersen, Vicious Sewer, and Municipal Pipe and Tool. The lowest bidder was Nels Pedersen at $296,444.50. The total actual project cost will be $412,944.50 with engineering.
Significantly lower than what they projected. So that's a good thing.
Yes, I was just talking to Tony, and after writing this memo, I know when we sent out information and bids proposals for RFP for the water, we came back and all of our numbers were way high. Concrete was coming in a lot higher price. So first thing I did is I called Tony. I said, "Do we need to backscale this? Because now we're going to have to go to council and get, come back because it's all going to be over." So we did backscale a little bit. We did come in quite a bit under, but we'll learn from it next year. We're going to try doing more of the slip lining and keep it in house, but less engineering. So that's our future moving forward, a solution to this. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Thank you.
Resolution finally approving and confirming plan specifications, form contract and estimate costs for the 2023 sanitary sewer rehabilitation project, including bid alternatives 1 and 2, and awarding contract to Nels Pedersen in the amount of $296,444.50.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. C is a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to amend the salary of the city manager. Oh, yeah. Really not much to talk about.
Move to approve.
Did you say?
Second.
Okay. All those in favour say aye. D is a resolution authorising the mayor to sign and execute amendment number 27 with Snyder and Associates to provide additional professional services needed for the 2024 HMA street improvement project for the 600 block of Elm Street and 500 block of Webster Street.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. On an annual basis, the city strives to conduct 1 to 2 road improvement projects in the community in order to improve the condition of our roads and increase the overall pavement condition index in our community. Amendment 27 provides the scope of services for the preliminary and final design, limited to survey, limited utility coordination, plan preparation, contract documents, bid assistance services, construction services for the 2024 HMA street improvement projects. This project was part of the capital improvement plan that was approved for the fiscal years of 2024 through 2028. Snyder and Associates provided the city with pavement management report on January 29th of 21, rating the roads into 5 categories. The 5 categories was rated from 0 to 100, with 100 being the pretty much like a brand new road with no issues. And from 81 to 100 is excellent condition, 61 to 80 is good condition, 41 to 60 is in fair condition, 21 to 40 is in poor, and 0 to 20 is very poor. Very poor would be the red. Poor condition is the orange, fair is yellow, good is green, and excellent is blue. The 2 locations for the 2024 HMA projects are the 500 block of Webster Street and 600 block of Elm Street. The 500 block of Webster Street was rated in very poor condition. And the 600 block of Elm was rated in poor condition. The 600 block of Elm Street is a road that's used quite a bit for the middle school, St. Thomas, the library, stuff like that. The project will consist of segments of curb and gutter replacement, pavement millings, HMA resurfacing, concrete driveway replacement, ADA ramp compliance improvements as locations required by federal regulations, traffic control and staging plans, the utility fixture adjustments, and utility pipes and structure replacements are not anticipated with this project. The reason for that is this area, both locations haven't had any water main breaks, knock on wood. And both locations are future locations for slip lining. Amendment number 27, engineering costs came in at $68,100, falling below the $80,000 budgeted for the fiscal year 2024, 23 and 24, coming out of the lost funds. Construction costs are estimated to be $595,000, also coming out of the 24-25 lost funds. Staff recommends the city council to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign and execute amendment 27 with Snyder's and Associates to provide professional services for the 2024 HMA projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, call for motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item E is a resolution authorising the mayor to sign and execute easements and quitclaim deed from those listed herein in connection with the Fair Meadow Drive reconstruction and widening project. Another one for you.
Okay, the Fair Meadow project has been under design since fall of 22. In order to complete the project, there was a total of 7 temporary easements, 6 sidewalk easements, and 3 quitclaim deeds that were needed to be acquired to complete the project. The cost of this would be recording fees on top of the $3,000 acquired that was needed to acquire the McDonald's quitclaim deed that was necessary to widen the road to allow extra room for high amount of traffic and turning movements. The staff recommends the city council to adopt a resolution accepting and executing easements and quitclaim deeds needed for the Fair Meadow Drive reconstruction and widening project.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item F is a resolution authorising the mayor to sign a 5-year agreement with the trash man for city trash services for city facilities and citywide recyclable collection services for all Webster City residents.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to discuss our findings and our recommendations from our selection committee for the city trash services for 11 city facilities and citywide recyclable collection services for all Webster City residents. As stated in previous meetings, we have had a contract with the Webster City Trash Man for city trash services and citywide recycling since 2003. On March 6th, 2023, staff brought to the city council for discussion and seeking direction related to city facility trash services and citywide recycling. Items and services discussed included recycling containers, specifically to sizes 32 gallon, 64 gallon, and 96 gallon. Pricing per size, frequency of pickup, bi-weekly or weekly. Understanding materials that can be recycled. Outreach and education. Roll-off containers, is it warranted to have a second roll-off container or stick with one? And same-day pickup as solid waste. On July 19th, 2023, the City Council approved a request for proposals for citywide trash recycling and city facility trash pickups. We sent the RFP out to 8 different businesses and only had 2 turn back in their proposals. Those 2 were the Trash Man here in Webster City and American Sanitation in Cameron. The heart of our RFP focused on what was discussed. And I want to stress what was discussed in that March 6th council meeting. That goes back to the recycled container size, the 32, 64, 96, the pricing per size, how many times you want it picked up. Understanding what needs to be recycled. Outreach and education was very important to you guys. Roll-off containers, currently we have the one by the wastewater treatment plant. And the same day pickup for solid waste was important. As you can see in the memo on table 1 and 2, both vendors were able to meet the recycling specification provided by the city. In table 2, on page 201, you can see we did additional comparisons. So they both were able to provide acceptable material, outreach and education, bins made of robust plastic, not to be damaged. Roll-off container, same day pickup is trash. Quarterly advertising was very important. Solutions for missed pickup. If a bin was missed, resident was called in, how was that going to be handled? Replacement program. Somebody was moving, we're moving in, how is that going to be handled? And then provide labor and equipment. So one of the differences, with that being said, both of them were able to provide all of them services. Perfect. However, one of the differences between the two was the cost comparison between bin sizes, bi-weekly and weekly pickups. Our selection committee is recommending a 5-year contract with the trash man for weekly pickups of the 96-gallon recycle bin. Staff recommends sticking with one roll-off container. Staff believes that the larger 96-gallon recycle bin will help offset the additional material warranting a second roll-off container. I believe in previous council meetings, it's been brought up of the location of the roll-off container. I know at one time it was discussed on being at the courthouse. I think at one time it was in North Valley. I believe I even heard it was at Hy-Vee. So with the larger container, I know in my personal house, if it gets full, it goes to the garbage. So now I feel like with a larger container, you're going to recycle more, and those people that would take that extra stuff that wouldn't throw it away, take it, roll off, you're going to recycle, put it in a recycle bin.
I have a question on that too. Like, I actually called the city manager today when I was going back over the proposals to make sure I understand that, just so everyone at home isn't kind of lost on what you call a roll off. It's the large, it's a large container with the slots pertaining to like glass, plastic,
Correct.
Cardboard, paper, whatever, located at the city tree dump site or wastewater treatment plant area. When I read roll off, I considered like a bin, or another, like 2 recycling bins.
Yeah.
And no, it's probably me. I just don't want anyone to be lost with that wording either. So you're saying because you're recommending a 96-gallon recycling bin with a lid with wheels on it.
Yeah.
Just like some of the trash service that we see right now. We're going to go with just one of these at one location.
That's what our selection committee is recommending. We feel that the material that would be brought to this location, what we call the roll off, where you'll call it, you're not going to be bringing that material to this location. You're going to be able to use your 96-gallon bin, and that's what we're kind of thinking, talking to our committee, all kind of throwing out a bunch of ideas. That's the way we view it. Now, a year from now, another one could be warranted. Council, you could say, well, we don't care. We want a second roll off. That's your decision. But
I think it's a good recommendation because just for some comparison, roughly what's the square or the gallon size of the 5-sided cube we use now, like with no lid?
the size of the roll-off container.
No, the size of the
It's
individual recycling cup. 18 gallons. Okay, so in essence, we get 80 more gallons of recyclable material per week in a personal recycling receptacle with a lid.
It'll be they won't be using that as much as they.
So
I think
again,
just go down a lot.
Again, people listening at home, just give a little comparison that, Wes is, and I agree. I don't think this will be utilized as much, so why double it? It does come in handy, you know, if you like around the holidays and you get more cardboard.
Yeah.
But
Because you could still take your cardboard out to each side out.
Yeah, and it's a great comment, Mayor, that the trash man does offer recyclables being taken to their facility here in Webster City. So that is, I guess you could consider that a second location. Yeah. For all the what we have.
In the hours, hours of operation.
Of operations, right.
Is the 96-gallon bin the only bin that'll be available?
So we're wanting to stick with just, instead of
Did you want to
offering all different sizes.
Had some elderly people in the community bring concerns to me about the big bin. I mean, I think it would be nice to have for those people to have an option.
Sure. Our committee kind of viewed it as trying to keep it, I guess, the same across the board, having different sizes. Kind of felt like just going with one, I'd be the easier choice. That would be your guys' choice also, if that's what you would rather do.
Is there any additional cost to having a mixture?
I would have to look into that. I don't have that information.
Personally, I like the idea of the larger size, but I'm carrying extra stuff out and hoping it doesn't blow away every week, so.
Yeah, the person might like it too. I don't know that we would need it. I don't know what that looks like. I know in Fort Dodge, people can cook, like the 96 bin is what they're given, but people can call and request a different size if that's a problem for them.
The weekly cost with the trash man's proposal doesn't change based on the size. It's just gonna be on them what their cost for purchasing X number of smaller bins would entail. I assume, bulk quantities, you get a set price for that. You start deviating from that and having smaller quantities, the variation and volume changes.
Sure.
But, maybe this is another question, is on either of the proposals, is the sorting done at the truck or is it at the facility? Like it's done now, it's sorted at the truck, right? So what would it be permitted to allow during like recycling pickup days? If an elderly person or maybe somebody with a disability that couldn't maybe handle that larger container, put like a clothes basket or some type of tote with recyclables out there. Granted, there's no lid, maybe it's not the appropriate one.
That doesn't really work well if because it's, the truck that's picking them up, grabbing the.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is it sorted at the truck or is it
No,
just dumped like the trash? Okay.
It's dumped, yes.
Yeah, you're switching to
An automated system.
a single stream recycling, combining all of them together.
And it'll be all the stuff, you gotta wheel it out. It's gotta be set the right way around. If they don't put it in the right way around, it won't be dumped and things like that. So I mean,
And yes, reaching out to references,
it's gonna take a little
talking
bit
to other
of
communities.
education.
It did say that some smaller communities, they still like the bag. The trash, just thinking of trash when going to bins, some people still like it. It's a change. Some viewed it as that. I did hear people say that, if it's larger, 96 gallon, like you commented that it's large. Somebody said, where am I gonna put that second bin? But it's a change. I think it's a good change. I think it's something we're all just gonna have to get accustomed to, think about.
But Megan, you brought up a great point. And I don't want to be insensitive to any of those that may be a little overwhelmed by the weight and size. But with a full household, kids and stuff, the bigger the better for me, but anyway, there just might be some growing pains we learn through this. Sure. We might have to tweak some things or make some accommodations and so.
I guess we could, see if you're gonna find out if there's a price difference or something for that, then see what that's gonna be. We can find out later, but I don't see why that would stop us approving this tonight.
So I know a couple more questions that were brought up, going with the trash bin, the color, what is this color gonna be? Chris did say that the bin would be green with a blue lid. I know you talked about also pizza boxes was a hot topic on what was going to be accepted there.
That's one of my questions.
Yeah.
So to kind of make it more of a general statement, and this is across the board, so like again, people, they're gonna go, okay, we're redoing our recycling program, and a lot of the motivation behind it was an expanded recycling program. But, and please, contractors in the audience, speak up. If I'm speaking out of line here, but there's just nowhere to take that material. Like there's not a market or appetite or disposal site for material outside of what we already currently recycle. Therefore, that's what the two proposals included, right? And that's what we put out for proposal. Am I saying that right?
I think I'm understanding.
So like basically whatever we recycled today is the same for the new one. We're not adding
You guys are
anything
able to take.
because there's no,
Pizza boxes can't.
Right, that's what you guys are able to take. You're not able to recycle.
The food.
Yeah, I learned a bunch about the whole pizza box thing and the grease and how that affects when they take their large quantities and how that affects they get graded based on what they provide. They could get docked cardboard based on if they provide so much cardboard, they cut that open. And there's so much grease in there, they get docked on what they take. So
this is more of like a PSA bill or a community education minute here, because essentially, no matter what contractor we went with, even if contractors outside of the two that gave proposals, there probably still wouldn't be a recycling avenue for pizza boxes. Is what I'm getting. Yes. And I'm just trying to, I guess, relay that to the community that we got to see where pizza boxes as basically trash.
red, you can pizza boxes.
Yeah, it's just trash.
You could, if you wanted to, anybody that has a good pizza and comes home and it sits for an hour or so, you see the bottom, that's gonna be saturated with the grease and the oil. The one thing you can do is obviously the top typically is not.
Rip that off.
To take the top off, that, yeah, it's typically corrugated cardboard, it's fine, it's that bottom is saturated. It'd be no different if you did your own oil at your house and you use cardboard bottoms, you put, the oil, once that oil's on there, that's contaminated, that's a contaminated product. And then what's been offered now, if you look at industry standards, like the plastics, the 1 through 7, the 6, that you can go to more Metro, you could go to wherever and look at that is what's acceptable, and a lot of them have even gone down from that. The recycled market plastics right now is quite honestly is atrocious. I called last week to get a full load out of here of plastic, which is 40,000 pounds, 20-some ton. And you know what I got for it? 0. And that's doing something that we should buy every 6 weeks. So the reality is the markets for recycling it's a product, it is a commodity. So what happens today, it can be different what happens tomorrow. I mean, cardboard a year ago was over $100. It just climbed over $50 or $60 now. I mean, and there's no subsidies. That's what it is. So, but I think overall, your question, Council Welch is trying to look at every possible thing that we possibly can do.
Because I know a lot of people wanted an expanded recycling program and not just a bigger container, but more items, right? Being able to segregate more items from the trash from the landfill. And unfortunately, we just don't have that avenue, right? With what can currently be accepted for recycling. And I just hope that's relayed, to the community and just not really an option.
So I mean, I'm sure if it changes where, for some reason cardboard becomes a rare commodity and I mean, sure, they're going to come to you and say, hey, we want to take pizza boxes now.
And we did that several years ago. I was part of that's changing the addendum to adding the cardboard and extra plastic. For years it was just number 1 and number 2 because that's what you get rid of. Well, once those avenues came about, we said I came back to the city and said, hey, here's some opportunities to do this.
But yeah, what there is right now obviously is what it's always been.
Very good.
So in table 1 on page 201, it gives you kind of a layout of the price from American Sanitation and the trash man. With our recommendation, you can see with the trash man at the 96 gallon for the weekly pickup at $3.50 compared to the American Sanitation at the 96 gallon bin for $4. Currently, the city is charging each resident with a meter of $3.75 on their utility bill for recycling services. Our selection committee is recommending that we accept the monthly rate from the trash man at $350, but continue to bill at $375. The additional funds will be used to adjust for write-offs. I learned a lot about this. The write-offs are used for those people that don't pay their utility bill. That is, the city has to absorb that cost. So those additional funds will help make up for that. And while the other excess revenue will help be used to offset the landfill fee for the tree grinding and citywide cleanup. I do a lot with the tree grinding. I know that just continuously is going up. I mean, I think when I first started, we were around 15,000. I think we're close to 25 to 30,000 now. So it's going up at a rapid pace. So those funds will be needed to help offset. This proposal also included the removal of solid waste from 11 city facilities via 1.5 cubic yard dumpster. The locations include City Hall, Fuller Hall, Cemetery, Street Department, Wastewater Plant, Water Plant, Line Department, Fire Station, Webster City Concrete Mills, Webster City Airport, and the outdoor pool. Both vendors were able to meet all the specifications required by the city. As you can see on table 4 on page 203, Daniel. Additional comparisons, arrange a site visit. Both vendors were able to provide that, provide service hours that we required, acceptable material list, just handed out. Follow rules and regulations, follow your municipal code, labor and equipment, provide additional charge. Let's see here. One of the differences was the cost comparison between the 5-year contract and the 10-year contract as shown in table 3. Our selection committee is recommending council move forward with a 5-year contract with the trash man for solid waste removal services for 11 city facilities at $6,000 per year. With that being said, our selection process was made up for both the solid waste and the recycle services on 6 major factors: the ability to meet service requirements, equipment and personnel to meet the collection needs, the bid process. Outreach and education was very important to you guys and ourselves for public awareness. Facility capabilities. I think we reached out to them again to provide what they have, what their facilities look like. And also we reached out to their references that they provide, which both of them, everyone that I contacted, they came back and spoke very highly of each of them. So at the end of it, our 7 staff members, our selection panel, we've met multiple times, we had great discussions. I was thrown out over multiple meetings. But once we gathered all the information, our selection committee filled out a scorecard for each vendor based on these 6 selection criteria. Each criteria was ranked from a scale from 1 to 5. Results showed that the trash man's criteria was ranked with an average score of 23, and American Sanitation with an average score of 21. So as a result of the selection criteria, our committee is recommending council move forward with a 5-year contract with the trash man for a weekly pickup of the 96-gallon recycle bin, and a 5-year contract with the trash man for solid waste removal services for the 11 city facilities.
Well, I want to thank both vendors. The recycling service was very competitive. It's healthy to have that competition, especially local. So I appreciate the process, appreciate the selection committee for the recommendation. And I'm excited for recycling to have at least a larger bin.
Yeah. It'll be a good thing. People will be happy with it. And hopefully we'll get a lot more recycling done. That's why. So I think a lot of people aren't recycling much. This will give them a chance to break it down and get a lot more regulated. So. All right. So Resolution authorising the mayor to sign a 5-year agreement with the trash man, the city trash services, the city facilities, and the citywide recyclable collection services for all Webster City residences.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item G is setting a time and place for a public hearing on proposal. Consider the request to vacate a portion of 3rd Street right of way for September 18 at 6:05 PM.
West, request to vacate city property must be considered by planning and zoning and city council. This will be going before planning and zoning on September 11th. And city staff is requesting to set a public hearing in front of council for September 18th at 6:05 PM to consider the request pending recommendation by planning and zoning commission. The developer has submitted a formal request for vacation of 3rd Street. Prior to in advance of the potential project, because they do have contingencies to meet with their purchasing date with several property owners in that area. This vacation request has been routed to all utility companies, internal staff, and contracted engineer for comment, and would require easements by all utilities. So we're just requesting to city staff's requesting to set a public hearing in front of city council on September 18th at 6:05.
Okay. Motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Item H, resolution authorising the sale of real estate and approving execution of a warranty deed conveying city-owned property in Brewer Creek Estates 5th edition to Webster City to Alex Greenfield. You're doing aerobics?
Yeah, feels like it. So we've received a purchase agreement for lot 7 in Brewer Creek Estates 5th edition. The prices for the Brewer Creek 5th and 6th editions have been set at a public hearing already in the past, so this does not need to go to the public hearing for the price. However, it does need to go before you guys for authorization to approve the purchase agreement. The lot's being sold to Alex Greenfield for $44,995, and a purchase agreement has been prepared by the city attorney. The down payment of $1,000 has already been received to secure the lot, and the buyer intends to build a home following all covenants. Again, these covenants require that the lot be developed within 18 months, or the city does have the right to revert the lot back to us, and the purchaser developer could repurchase the lot at the same price that they purchased from the city. And initially, the money received from the sale will be deposited into the electric utility money for the subdivision development, since it came from that fund originally. So we're just requesting that council adopt a resolution authorizing the sale and approving the execution of the warranty deed for lot 7 in Brewer Creek Estates 5th edition.
Thanks, sir.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
That's a good, that's a lot of houses going ahead of out there now, so good to see a bit of movement. Okay, resolution approving rebate of 20,000, 50% of utility permit fees paid by Platinum Connect LLC in connection with the fibre optic network constructed in Webster City and right-of-way access license agreement entered into with the city of Webster City in 2021.
I'll take this one. Mayor and Council, this was an item that the council had discussed back at their July 3rd meeting regarding Platinum Connect's request for the incentive rebate of 50% or $20,000 of the utility permit fees paid. This was pursuant to the right-of-way access agreement that the city had entered into back in July of 2021 with Platinum Connect for the development of their fiber network throughout the community. One of the conditions of the agreements was that Platinum was to provide as-built maps as well as name the city on any easements it obtains where they weren't going to be accessing the city's right of way or existing easements. One of the things that we had come across when the map information initially came across back in the winter months there were some inaccuracies and some errors with the mapping information and some of the assets in terms of how they were mapped within. We followed up with Plan Connect earlier this summer. They provided some updated mapping information and clarified and corrected some of those errors that were noted. One of the things that just they are unable to address is the specific mapping locations of the service lines off of their main fiber network. And so those are reflected on the maps just as a straight line from whatever asset or a fixture that they're being connected to. Here's an example of how they're just portrayed on the map. Another example was here. So unfortunately, it just wasn't part of the construction practice to locate those or map those to significant details. And so council will have to decide whether or not you would like to accept the maps as is or provide additional direction as to how to proceed with that. The resolution before you does provide you to accept the map information and authorize the disbursement of the rebates, acknowledging the maps in their current form.
What would be an example of what you'd want to see?
I think the intent originally when it was negotiated, and none of the people who were involved with that, I think, are here today, but the intent was for the mapping information to be able to provide a better portrayal of where those locations are at. In terms of the service lines, we typically use the mapping information just for preliminary planning purposes or when we're doing operations and have to quickly just spot check where things might be at before we start diving into. With all work that's done within the right of way, we still do locates, but it's helpful to have a preliminary map to view ahead of time or just to be able to review. Not having the service lines just does present some obstacles, so we just wouldn't rely on that information. So, but that was the intent, I believe, of having and requesting the as-built maps information as part of the agreements and providing that incentive to them. I don't believe that there's a way for Platinum Connect, based on what I understand, and speaking with Doug Boone, that today they can go back and GPS and locate all those service lines. So unfortunately, it is what it is at this point, whether we want for council to okay, still providing them that rebate or whether you would like to make a modification or provide other amendments.
I mean, if we rely on location anyway, and we have a general idea, and this partnership with Platinum has been a professional agreement. I personally see no issue moving forward with it as is, but.
And those lines are able to be located, you said, just like other utilities using.
Yeah, when we call in the locates for any project or any like for instance the water main breaks, and they still have to come out and locate all those specific lines, whether it's the main fiber lines or whether it's the service lines to individual homes. It was just like I said, the intent of including that as part of the incentive was going just to be helpful for our operations. And so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, they've done a great job. And I mean, I'm surprised that we didn't have a lot more trouble for the amount of boring they did around the whole of the city. I mean, did a hell of a job, really, because if we have problems ourselves going out and doing things from time to time. So I would have been, it'd be nice if it was perfect, but unfortunately it's what it is. Yes, Doug.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
And again, on behalf of Platinum, we again appreciate the opportunity, the partnership that exists within Platinum with Premier Communications out of Sioux Center, along with Webster Calhoun out of Gallery. We believe the project went extremely well. We were finished a year ahead of time. We were right at our budget of just under $16 million of construction. One of the things that, again, we're proud of is that, we do want to be a community-based provider. We want to be engaged, which is why we have a storefront, which is why we have employees, that you can talk to and that we can provide service. So, again, I think that in our opinion, at least, we really believe that we lived up to the spirit of the agreement. The methods that we used here are the same methods that we have used in our dozens of our fiber construction projects all across Iowa up to this point. So again, we appreciate the latitude given. I think as built is something that isn't a defined term. And I think that's maybe where part of the problem got, or was created from the very beginning, as built, even within the agreement, was done with quotation marks. It wasn't a specific term, it wasn't a defined term, it wasn't stated that every foot would be GPS based. But we do believe that the maps will provide what you need in terms of a guide. And again, on behalf of Platinum, if you're ever doing any planning, any wondering, again, courtesy locates, we can do those to work with city staff if there's ever questions on where facilities might be.
I think you said it great, Doug, because one of the kind of things you can lean on here is, they do have brick and mortar in town. They do have technicians local, so, and I think, again, wanting to keep that relationship professional and easygoing, I think we can work together if there are any questions in the future, but this gives us a good enough idea. And I feel you've met the requirements of this rebate, and I have no issues moving forward if it has is.
So you want to do a resolution?
Do you want to make a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll move to approve the rebate.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Call for motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. That's it, everybody. Thank you for coming.
For this council meeting,